position. You got, just for example, Chase Elliott on his 28th lap just ran a 76. Well, Blaney on his 46th lap ran a 75. And Truex on his 22nd lap ran a 50. So there's a little bit of speed that, and I see that throughout. I see it with Martin. I see it with all the Hendrick cars. I don't see any of them standing out as saying, hey, I have the fastest car. That ain't any of them. So they're going to have a little bit of work to do. They're not horrible, don't get me wrong, but they're not stand out faster than anybody.
Dave, how about Martin Truex Jr.?
Rick, after 10 laps, he said free center off sideways. James Small, the crew chief, said bring it in. Then he went back out and set that fast lap Jeff talked about on lap 13. And then a couple laps later, he said, well, I've hurt the rears now. So, Jeff, it's interesting because he had that moment where they realized they'd made a great change. But then, like you talked about, at some point, you just got to say, well, but we're on old tires, and we can't rely on the information anymore.
Yeah, Dave, that's just... it's a difficult thing to do. You only pit if you have to, right? In this type of practice, you only pit if you're like, hey, I've got to do something. We've got to make a change. I need to at least feel it, even if it's slower or faster. Some of it's just, did it give the driver a feel that he was looking for? So one thing that's happened here, guys, too, we talked about the rubber being on the racetrack. Well, let's go to look at Blaney. 50 laps on his tires. Look where he's running. He's running a super high entry, low exit. I got Christopher Bell's literally running the second lane. This time he went around the second lane, almost all the way around the racetrack. So that's the other component of this tire. You know, I talked to Ryan Preece, who was one of the guys that tested, and he thought the advantage in this tire was the maneuverability of it, that it gave the driver more feel and more comfort to go try other things, and we're seeing that a little bit with what some of the drivers are trying.
Yeah, when this track's at its best, you'll see drivers try those different lines, that high entry to be able to turn the car across the middle of the corner to get a straighter drive off. What you're trying to really do is increase drive off, the ability to really throttle up on corner exit. And so there's multiple ways to get around the corner, but when you're limited by the tire, when the tire will only do one thing, you see that go away. And so, yes, that's great to see, Jeff, to your point. Hopefully we're going to continue to see that as more and more rubber gets put down on the racetrack. That rubber sort of tends to get slick, and you go looking for greener racetrack